Hey guys, Chris James here. This is my podcast. If you guys like it, please subscribe. This is one of my first official podcasts, and today I'm gonna be talking about like jobs and education and changing jobs and those kind of things and personal experiences. So if you guys can relate, please leave a comment down below. So this is gonna be a real basic series, and let's get into it. So I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Um, so I'm gonna talk about education. So a lot of people don't realize that, but your experience and your um, education does not guarantee you a job. Let me just say that again. So your experience and your education doesn't really guarantee you anything. Um, you can be the most educated person. I've seen people with master's degrees working at McDonald's doesn't guarantee you the best. I mean, of course, a master's degree could put you in a better situation than other people, depending on what the major in your studies. Maybe if you're a master's in like psychology or something, you could get a pretty good job, but it still doesn't guarantee that job. So jobs are supply and demand, and they are based on your ability to find it. Actually, it's kind of like hunting. You have the best weapons, and you if you can't find an animal and kill it, then you can't eat, right? Like if you're hunting deer or something. So the best thing regarding jobs is just keep that in mind, yeah. So that's my first thing I want to tell you guys. If you guys are in college and stuff, I'll tell you a story. So when I was in college, I entered this program and I asked my guidance counselor, I'm like, yeah, what should I do? What should I major? And I was like, I just want to get a, BS or an AS. If you guys don't know what that means, AS is like Associate of Science, BS is a Bachelor's of Science, whatever. So instead of getting like a general degree, it's basically a science degree, right? You have to take more science classes. So went through college, graduated, and then I went back to the guidance counselor, and they promised me like a job, right? So I went back there in the college, and then they're like, yeah, we're gonna hook you up with a job. Went there, and then they're like, oh, sorry, Chris, you know, you did well, congratulations, but we recommend you go back to school for another 2 3 years, maybe longer. And I'm like, oh really? I just finished paying off my college. Like at the time I was just working like a part-time job, and I was like, how am I gonna pay for my school at that time, right? If you're in college, you're not rich, right? And then you're like, oh, get a loan, okay, get a loan. And then I come back out and you say that again. And then, how in the world am I gonna pay off that loan, right? So, you know, guess what? I didn't listen to them because I'm not an idiot. And I didn't freaking go back to school and try to freaking get some college debt like everybody else is doing. I don't follow trends. I don't follow the mass, uh, you know, chaos and what people are doing. I mean, you gotta follow your own dream and what's best for you. Like I already, yeah. I mean, I think I should have went back to school a little bit longer, but I mean, sometimes, there's people going back to school in their 30s and 40s. And at that time, I had a computer repair company. It was a long time ago. So I realized that I can make money without, going to college. And it paid way more than I did to work at, like, some fast food place or whatever. It paid more than a normal job. So, I was doing my thing. And I had some small company. So yeah, that's my experience. So I'm not telling you not to go to college, but just use your judgment. Don't go to college for no reason. Don't go to college just because you think you need to learn something that you already know. Like just don't accumulate debt. Like if you want to go to college, that's great, but like yeah, that's just my advice. So changing topics. I'm gonna talk about the next situation. Um, you know, Let me go through some notes here. So a lot of people want to take the easy way, and the easy way is not always the easy way. You know, they always tell you go to college, get a 9 to 5 job, get a simple job or whatever, get the job you went to school. Yeah, that was good. You know, maybe when the economy was stable, you know, in the 70s, 60s, or those kind of eras where we didn't have a lot of technology. But now, you know, you see people, they just create a website and do a business or open some kind of like YouTube channel or something, and they're making a fortune. I mean, it's all based on your talent now, and what you can sell. I mean, that's the current age. We're in the information age, right? So whatever information that you have that's good and you can monetize it, that is the future, and that is where we're at now. I mean, there's so many people without a job that are extremely educated, um, you know, and they just like, even there's like doctors and nurses, they just don't want to, you know, do that. They don't want to work in that field anymore after the last few years and pandemic and whatever, right? So it's not about your education, but it's what you can do with that education if you can monetize it. And you know, school doesn't really teach how to monetize your skills. It just really teaches you how to do your skill in an institution, because you're learning in an institution. So you got to kind of get out there, and you got to connect with business people, and there's tons of books that they don't even have in college libraries where you can learn from other people who actually were successful and took the risk, how to, you know, establish yourself, because you know, let's face it, jobs are always ready to fire and hire new people. I mean, they just want to, they only care about their own benefit, you know, companies in general. It's kind of like there is some very good companies out there. There's companies that want to really help people and stuff. I believe in that, but it's usually like, you know, it's a very big organization with a lot of people, and it's all about who you know. And the most toxic thing, I'm not telling you like don't work, but you know, the most toxic thing about companies is the politics in there, you know, it's in, like, who you know and whose butt you ought to kiss and all those kind of things. So you know, I mean, some people can do that, you know, but chances are, if you're like me and you feel a hatred towards you know, workplace politics and all those things, chances are, you know, you should be in your own, uh, you know, you should be in a freelancer position, or a position where you don't have to be in that toxic environment, because it's not good. It's really not. I mean, you know, there's always somebody at the top, and always somebody that in some cases less qualified than you in your education or field, but they just satisfy people who made that decision. And I've seen big managers get fired as well, so it's not always permanent. But yeah, so that's the thing. Like, people who making everybody happy at the top will get promoted, and those, even based on their job performance, their performance could be very well. They just don't politically satisfy people, then they will just stay in the same position. And then a lot of people will change jobs to try to get a promotion, because the same company, like, sometimes it's really hard to get a raise. You're going to be working years and years and years on the same pay, and that's a big no-no, you know. So this is in general. When you're working for another company, you can't always satisfy your own desires, and you can't sometimes even learn a livable wage, because it's all about who and not what. It's not about what you can do and how talented you are. It's about who likes you, and who, you know, is looking out for you in that way, or who you can intimidate enough to get a fair paycheck in some companies, right? So That's one thing. Sounds very toxic, but very, very true, guys. Let's admit it, okay? Um, and then there's a lot of people just blindly following politics in companies. Just a very toxic environment. So make sure if you get a job that it's a good company. There's a lot of great companies. I'm not saying like every company is toxic, but it's like the pyramid scheme, like that kind of thing. So you just gotta kind of think about if you want to fit into a pyramid scheme or do you want to be at the top of the pyramid and start your own company. That's basically it, guys. I mean, you either want to, own the pyramid or you want to just be one block of the pyramid, That's how it is owning a company, or you're just going to work for somebody else. I mean, that's basically how it is. If you want to be an employee or you want to be an owner, So being an owner, it's hard in the beginning, but once you start getting money, you'll definitely thank yourself in the end if you can, because I mean, as you know, 90% of businesses fail within the first or second year, and that's because people don't see the results right away and they give up. But that's not the way to go. I mean, if you really believe in your product, sometimes you gotta rebrand and sometimes you gotta start a new company with a different idea. But as long as you don't give up, you will achieve some kind of success in the long term. And when I mean long term, it might not be 1 year, but it could be 3 years, and it could even be 6 months. A lot of people give up within 6 months. I've seen many businesses close within 6 months. I've seen it all. Okay, especially restaurants because their profit margin is very low, and somebody's just trying to do it as a hobby, and they just don't see what they want. They thought they would, and they just wasted money and opened a restaurant, and boom, it just goes out. So you guys got to really think about what you're doing and be dedicated to it and be serious. It's a commitment. A business owner is a lifestyle. It's not just a status. It's a lifestyle, and if you're not committed to being an owner of your own life, then you can't be. It's very hard to be the owner of a business, and that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, that's what I gotta say. So keep that in mind. Um, and then if you're at the top, you can kind of control what comes in your mind and doesn't, because there's a lot of toxic people and they want to, even they're not the boss, they want to bring toxic stuff into your work environment. So just try to keep it neutral, find the right people. That's why it's really hard in my companies that I owned. It was really hard to hire people because I just hired contractors because people, they just want to demand their own working conditions, and they're very picky, and they're also not happy. And some people, the worst people to hire is your friends and family because they will take advantage of you in some cases. Family businesses are a very sensitive thing. I think sometimes they're good. I like small businesses, don't get me wrong. But when you're, I would say more or less friends, they'll take advantage of you, So you gotta kind of think very clearly. Is this person, friends in business do not mix. You gotta have like that mentality that is separate, and then you can kind of keep it neutral in that sense. And whatever happens after work, whatever happens after work, But a lot of people don't have that discipline, They're always thinking like if we're friends in work, and then they mess it up. So it gets messy. So be careful on that one. But the first customers will be your friends and family, and then after that comes all the other customers. But a lot of them will expect something for free, so be careful with that. I think it should be that way. You should charge your friends and family if you're doing a business. Always keep a business mind. Every time is money. Time is money, and you got to think that way. So that's one of the number one concepts of a business. Don't be a charity unless you're a charity. Unless people are giving you money for free, don't give out your services for free. If you're not a charity, then don't be a charity. I mean, it's that simple, right? A business is not a charity; they're separate. So anyway, and then a lot of people are thinking like 2 to 5 years is really difficult. But imagine, 40 years in a job that you're not happy with. I'm not saying don't work a job, but like for 40 years, you're gonna be in a job that you're not happy. It's like being in hell, man. I mean, like, who wants to be in the same job for 40 years and be unhappy? Not me. Like, I'll get anxiety, I'll pass out. Like, I just have no patience in general. So, but yeah, a lot of people just, okay, I'll sacrifice a lot. I've already done, and I already will plan to sacrifice for my future. But like, if it's for somebody else's dream and they don't even pay you a livable wage, then why? Can you even imagine being stuck there and you're putting yourself in the negative? That's why people get health problems, because their job doesn't even pay enough for their like health insurance, or to take care of them physically and mentally, or even to buy good food or whatever. So you gotta fight for your own future. And if your job, if you're full time, your job is not giving you the lifestyle that you want, and you're working hard and you know it, and they even give you a compliment, then you gotta try to find another job, or you gotta maybe own your own company, because it's not gonna be a good future, man. So anyway, thank you for watching this podcast. This was a mini series, and hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Peace out.